Order of business, the commission will review the draft minutes from the meeting of April 23rd. And I know when I sent that out, I thank Rebecca very much for staying with. That was a pretty detailed discussion that she covered, and I thought she did it very well. So thanks again, Rebecca. Chip, good morning.
Good morning. I'm sorry I'm late.
You're about 30 seconds late. That's not so bad.
It's an improvement.
In the grand scheme of things, it's not so bad at all. No, you did good. Come on. Chip, I'd called the meeting to order and asked folks to take a look at the minutes.
My comment about the meeting is it has me down as absent. I was present.
Interesting, Paul.
I'll make sure that that's amended.
Okay,
Sorry about that.
no worries.
If there are no recommendations for changes, I could ask for a motion for the minutes to be approved. Anyone?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. And Hugh is second. All in favor?
Aye.
The minutes from the meeting of April 23rd are approved. And thank you, everybody. We have two C of A votes, as you've seen on the agenda. One is straight up and simple, and one is subject of a lot of communication back and forth, and not quite as simple. So let's do straight up and simple. We have a C of A is prepared by City Attorney Polidoro for a sign at 522 Warren Street. May I have a motion to approve the signed C of A?
I make that motion.
Thank you very much, Paul. And a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Miranda. All in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Signed C of A for 522 Warren is approved, so good on that. On 9 Willard, I'm going to ask City Attorney Polidoro to advise the commission on state of play in terms of communications on that.
Hi, everyone. So 9 Willard Place had requested a number of items for approval, including windows and railings on the building itself. And then there were changes regarding a walkway and staircase and retaining wall and off-street parking. And so we still are waiting on a letter from the applicant's title company, a title opinion letter that hasn't come in yet. I did get some updated information from the applicant yesterday afternoon, but the long story short is that I'm comfortable if the board moves forward with just the railings and the windows, which are the items on the building itself. But if the applicant has requested, that you move forward with more. So that's all I'm comfortable saying that you can or should move forward with today based on the information we've received.
Crystal, I see that you're here, I think representing folks next door. If we approve just stuff on the building, physical stuff, no landscaping, no changes in walkways or any of that stuff, are you all right with that?
I guess, well, first I should say, I think that maybe Taconic submitted an updated drawing to you all. Is that correct? But I think that maybe came in, no?
I'm not sure. It's very possible, Crystal. A lot of stuff was coming in and I'm not remembering every piece.
Okay. Well, Taconic is here to discuss those changes. I would say, I guess in theory, I'm agreeable to that. I'm not sure really that the walkway is something that's even in your purview. I mean, that's not, you all don't generally weigh in on landscape. So I'm curious
We
as to
we
why that's.
do when it's permanent construction. So
Okay.
yeah,
Hey guys, this is Andy Didio with Taconic. Yeah, I think to Crystal's point, the walkway and the parking area is a separate items. You know, it's not something we're requesting that the HPC consider. We're here for, as mentioned, Victoria, the windows, the railings. So there are two other elements that I think the C of A should include, which would be the construction of a stair. So right now on the south side of the building, and we'll pull up, Sam, do you have the ability to share? Sam will share the screen. The southern side of the residence has an existing staircase that's only about 25% of the front width. And so we're proposing to construct a stair the full width. So you can see on the existing condition, that's the existing stair. And then on the north end is a porch with a stair going down to the walking path that is proposed to be reconstructed in kind. You'll see that on the architectural elevations, but this is the existing condition. You can go back one, Sam. So there's the existing porch on the south side. You can see it in the photos, and then you can go to the proposed Sam site plan. So the stair would extend along the frontage of the south end, and then that new stair with treads and metal handrail, that's on the north side. So I don't know if Victoria, if that's what you meant on the railings, but that's what the two sets of stairs and the windows is what we're proposing for the HPC to review and approve. And so you can go to the elevation, Sam. One thing at the last meeting with regard to the window. So we had talked about doing a Marvin Ultimate Wood window, which is what we are proposing. The adjustment we are seeking feedback from on the HPC is whether or not the applicant would like to do a fiberglass exterior clad window. So it's a wood construction. It's still an Marvin Ultimate Wood window. It's got wood on the interior, but the exterior is skinned with a fiberglass, and it's a painted fiberglass for essentially for maintenance, to reduce the maintenance of the windows. So we had talked about wood exterior last time, I believe, and we wanted to gain feedback from the HPC if they'd be willing to accept the fiberglass clad. It resembles wood quite a bit more than, say, an aluminum clad window. It's not as sharp a line.
okay. Would any comments on that?
Chairman Foreman, this is Bill Hurst on behalf of Nick Levin, the owner of number 9. I just want to make clear that Mr. Levin's objections extend to the incompatibility of these proposed alterations, including in the application as it's currently being presented. I don't think there's any question that's what's being proposed, starting with the steps in the front, is a dramatic alteration of the front facade of the building. It is an alteration that will throw the two buildings that were constructed as companions out of balance with one another, and will dramatically reshape the rhythm and pattern of these two companion lots. As to the windows on the westerly elevation, which is the elevation that faces Willard Place, you are being asked to approve a change from a 3/3 very balanced architectural design to something that I guess is best described as 3/4 with a couple of seemingly misplaced windows thrown in the middle of the pattern of that western facade. And so our position would be that applying the principles of compatibility, looking at the surrounding structures, most notably number 9 Willard Place, looking at the surrounding neighborhood and the pattern and rhythms of development, that even these alterations are dramatically incompatible with the area and not warranting of a certificate of appropriateness. And obviously we continue to have objections as to the landscaping, but just I want the commission to understand that overall, we think that this plan is misguided on numerous levels, including as to the incompatibility of these proposed alterations, especially now that we're hearing that there's going to be some fiberglass, mock-up that looks like wood, but is not wood. And so, historic preservation is not about dollhouses, it's about historic preservation. So please note our continued objection to these alterations, even as amended or narrowed by the applicant.
So Mr. Hurst, just to be clear though, you don't have any legal issues or title issues with the requested changes to the front and rear porch stairs, railings, and windows?
Yeah, these would be substantive objections under the ordinance, under the standards for compatibility. So the short answer to your question, Victoria, is yes. Or no, sorry.
Wait, what,
We're going to go with no on that?
We have no
So-
deed or title-based objections to the alterations. Our objections arise from the historic preservation ordinance.
Cool. So, Bill, I kind of thought it was the commission that decides on compatibility, but your points are always interesting. Any comments from other folks? Victoria, do you want to put up on the screen? Could you share your screen with the draft that you prepared?
One sec. Okay, so this was for the 2 new 6/6 windows on the west side of the building and new porch stairs and railing. And I can clarify that that's front and rear. Oh, hi, Grandma. Sorry. All right, front and rear porch stairs. So this is what we talked about. I'm not saying that you have to vote on this, but this would cover what was just presented by Taconic Engineering, which is the windows and the front and rear porch stairs and railing.
Could we see them one more? Could we see the before and after just one more time? I'm sorry.
No, I'm with you, John.
Andy should bring that up.
And I understand that we're not considering the front, right? We're just considering the alterations, but
Is this the before and after? or
no,
is-
it's not. That's the south and the north. That's what was confusing me
this
because it
is
looked
it.
very drastic. If you consider the front and the back, it looks very drastic. The columns are already there. The stairs are widening. The railings are being changed. Andy, is there anything else that we're like the
No, I think that
windows-
covers
So
it.
the porch is
Essentially,
already
on this-
there.
The porch is
The porch
there.
is already there.
Yeah.
And it's distinct from its companion in that the porch is there and that's not. Stairs are being wide. Could we see the after, Andy, the drawing?
So in the bottom right-hand corner is where you see the full length.
Can you call out the major changes? The stairs are widened to the full width of the facade.
Yep.
The railings are changed. And are those already full? Are those windows being extended to be full size? Or are they already that way?
I think they're already that way. Oh, you've got a picture of the front. facade.
Yes,
Yep,
they are.
there you go.
Okay.
Andy, I'm not
Changes are
clear. Are you
the
changing
changes are the
fenestration or
changes to
just
the
windows?
facade are the changes to the facade are the windows, the widening of the staircase to be full width of the facade.
That's
the
correct.
and the handrail.
And the handrail would change to, yep, metal decorative.
Uh-huh.
handrail.
right.
If I may comment while we're thinking about that, and thank you, John, for summarizing those changes. Andy, if you could just go back one of your images back to the previous page that shows the sort of design inspiration photograph on the lower left-hand corner, that photograph, which is used as the Taconic Engineering's design inspiration. The thing about this building for me is that it's a new building that pretended to be a building that could have been built someplace in Columbia County in the 1840s or the 1850s. And that pretend is, to my mind, a mark against its importance in the fabric of the city. However, the inspiration photograph on the left-hand side is an attempt to redream this building, not as if it were a building built in Columbia County in the 1840s or 60s, but a building that might have been built in South Carolina or tidal a mid-Atlantic or southern Atlantic coastal area. And so these wrought iron rails and the broad steps running across the front, I think just further Disneyfy this building so that it becomes loaded with images that aren't really accurate. And from a historic preservation point of view, it's just kind of a continual erosion of the of this Disneyfying. It's actually an excellent example of what not to do, both from its original construction, pretending that it's an older building, and from this modification, which is pretending it's from some other place in the country other than the Hudson Valley. So
Chip.
those are my comments.
You know what? I think there's enough controversy here, in my opinion, that I would humbly suggest that we consider a public hearing, right? Like, we're now ruling on the compatibility of Chip's point. I think is very well made. It seems minor in that it's just railings and stairs, except to the owner's objection, it is taking it out of what it was. Chip, you're exactly right. A recreation of something that was of here to something that's not. And compatibility, if nothing else, needs to be considered in light of that other building. So maybe the town, even though we don't, this is not like, let's say, the library consideration, maybe there's enough controversy here that we should take in other inputs. Obviously, the owner has an opinion, and maybe others do too. And I'm sure the current owner of this building, the neighbor has an opinion. I'm sure the current owner of this building has an opinion as well.
I have no problem with that. John, what do other folks think?
No, I think that's a very good idea. I think we do this. That's generally how we operate. If we have controversy, it's good to have a public hearing, get the input.
Okay.
So the controversy would be surrounding the establishment of the stair. I mean, it sounds as though really the railing, Chip, to your point, the railing is really the consideration here.
It's on the compatibility of all the proposed changes.
Thank you, Victoria.
Okay. All right. So let's move on. We'll schedule a public hearing for well, let me see how it works on the calendar. Maybe 2 weeks if we can get it together. And I'm sorry for the delay, folks, but I think there's a little bit of wisdom in that, and maybe, God willing, we can sort out some of the landscaping stuff as well during the next couple of weeks. That would be cool. If everybody's okay,
I'm going to request that Crystal Hines and Bill Hurst meet with each other and see if they can come to a meeting on the mines. And then also that any materials that I need to review just be given to me, maybe a week in advance, so I have time to really dig into them and before the next meeting.
Fair enough, Victoria. Crystal, Bill, is that clear?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's sort of what I understood the chair's instructions to be last time, but it didn't happen. So we're always happy to listen to folks and to try to come up with something that everyone can live with.
Thank you very much. So you guys are going to get together and get back to Victoria in a timely basis. Let's move on to CFA applications.
So we'll see you in 2 weeks for a public hearing.
That's what we're going to try to do. I'll let you know as soon as I look at the calendar to see what else is on the docket 2 weeks from now, but probably yes. Just stay in touch, Bill. I'm not going to disappear.
Thank you all.
Craig and I were talking for a minute before we started. There was a application that we missed on 202 Allen, and I think they're here. So you all be back on as soon as we get through the signs. And what was I going to say? Walter, you're still on, right? Walter Chatham.
Why, yes, of course.
I see you there. My eyes are going in addition to everything else.
I'm just lurking when you're ready.
No, you don't lurk, Walter. You're there. Listen, I'm going to put you down at the end because I think 400 is going to be a longer discussion. And I'd like all the 8 folks with signs to get done and smaller projects to have the opportunity to move on and have their day. And then we need really to focus on 400, if that's all right.
As long as your voice holds out, Phil, I'm here for you.
That was kind of nice. Thank you. And here we go. 369 Warren Street, a sign. Who's here from 369?
369, that might be me. What is, hold on. Give me 1 second, because I have a bunch of signs with you guys today.
Oh, okay, cool.
Let me see which one 369 is. See if that is me. I think it is. Is that one 369? Is that the Greater Hudson Valley one?
Could be. I don't know. I'm just looking at the list right now. I'm not opening the apps while I'm doing this.
Yeah, hold on. I got 4 with you. I'm just trying to figure out which one's which.
If you got 4, just let's go through your 4.
Tom, 369 is yours, 514 is yours, and 711 is yours. And
369 is the
that's the church.
The church. Okay. Yep. All right. So 369 is the church on Warren Street. There's a nonprofit in there. They want to put a sign in the entryway. There's already 2 hooks above the doorway. Let me figure out how to do this screen share thing.
Does the church know?
Yes, we have the approval from the owner of the church.
That would be God. You have approval from Catherine Belkey or someone?
Catherine Belkey, yep.
All right, good.
So Catherine Belkey, how do I screen share this?
You click on the green share screen button at the bottom of the screen.
Okay.
You click on that, it'll give you the option to pick.
All right, so do you have it?
Whoa.
So there's what they plan on. There's already 2 hooks in the upper archway. It's a 40-inch round sign, single-sided. MDO. That was sent to Catherine Belkey, and she said it was fine. It's under the 12 square foot allowed. It's like, I think it's 11 or maybe 10 and a half. This is the actual sign. Let me pull that up for you. And that's the actual sign itself to hang in the doorway.
We're not seeing that.
Nope.
I mean, we're seeing the same picture you showed first.
Okay, let me get this one back. All right, here you go. So there's the actual sign up close. It's round.
Promise neighborhood. Got it.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
I guess they're renting a space right inside that door there.
Is that on the side of the building?
It's on the Warren Street side above that
It's in front of
doorway.
the door.
They consider putting it on the church itself. I advised against that because we did not want to drill into the actual facade and brick of the church. I mean, it's a historic building. We didn't want to mess with that too much. And we took a look, and there is two eye hooks already up there that we checked, and I think would be secure enough to hold a 1/2-inch MDO plywood sign without actually making it any more modifications to the building. They're already there. We don't have to put no more holes in it. If they ever move, we just unclip it, and the two little hooks are still there. We don't have to make any more holes in that building.
Okay.
Unnecessary. Any questions or?
Would you go back to the previous image, please?
Yep.
Well, I will. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, you.
I'll just say it, it's a lovely sign. It's a lovely doorway. They don't seem to work together at all. They're like fighting with each other. It doesn't look great. I don't know what else to say. It's out of scale. I don't know if we're stepping out of our, the purview of our okays and not okays, but to me, that just is really out of place.
Scale as far, what with the scale, what? too big, too
Just
small?
like the style of the sign, the color of the sign, the size of the sign in that doorway.
Yeah.
Really not working for me personally.
I
What
agree,
are their
Phil.
alternatives?
Well, I mean, there's for the color, there's not much alternative. That's your
logo, isn't it?
That's their logo they have on everything. Scale, we can scale it down a little bit.
I mean, could it fit? This is a larger arch doorway that's partially filled in.
Yeah.
And I guess that's a light fixture, right? That's in
There's a
the,
small
above
light
the
fixture.
door.
Yeah, right above the door. Yep.
Would it be possible to make the sign fit between the light fixture and the top of that panel and have it be recessed against the panel instead of hanging in front?
We can do that. I mean, I would have to take a look.
I don't know what the size is. It's hard to tell from this.
I don't know if I have a picture.
Because part of it is that it's round and the arch is oval and it's
Yeah,
hanging out in the middle of the.
And that's the other thing. That's the other thing with their logo. It's a round logo. I mean, I tried to get them to change it. They really didn't want to mess.
It's a really attractive logo. It's just
They didn't want to
it
mess
doesn't
with
fit on the oval arch, but I think
I
it would
think
look
that's
okay
the issue.
if it were
Yeah,
against the
maybe-
wall,
maybe-
either on the side or above the light fixture.
And
Yeah, we might be able to push it back to that back panel. I'm just not sure if I have a picture without the mock-up on the front of it.
I think that would make a big, if it were actually on the panel and not the arch, I think it would make a big difference. I don't really have an opinion on the logo. That's their logo. And if they want to draw attention to it, I don't blame them at all. If it could just be slightly smaller and be between the light and the top of the arch, I think it would.
I think we can do that. I can't find it. Let me pull up Google Maps and see if I can look at the front of that. I think there's plenty of room to do that if we knock the sign down a little bit. Let me pull up Google Maps. I love Google Maps for this kind of stuff. 369.
John and Miranda, I think that's a really excellent idea to
With a new.
shrink it down and push it back. I think that would really solve the problem.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I'm looking at the Google Maps photo, and I think if we knocked it down, we can definitely get it between the light and the top of the arch.
Beautiful. Let's agree on that and try to move on.
Go ahead.
But what are we agreeing on? Is he coming back?
We're agreeing that, I don't know, that either you're going to come back to us or one of us will take a look and see that you knock this thing down and it fits inside there.
I can send it to whoever. I'll go down, in the next day or two, take a measure.
Send it to me. If you can mock it up like this, showing that it fits right in there.
Okay.
I'll distribute it to the commission and we can approve this and get a C of A going for the next meeting, contingent on your meeting what the requirement we just set for you.
Okay, that sounds good.
Bueno.
I'll get that done ASAP.
All right, we got to go through our motion ritual. Motion to find the application complete, please.
I make that motion.
And a second.
Second.
Thank you very much. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion to request city attorney to prepare a C of A contingent on the applicant submitting between now and our next meeting a visual that clearly indicates that that piece is tucked in there where we requested it. May I have that motion?
So
Hugh?
moved.
And a second, Miranda, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Approved. Next sign, 514 Warren Street.
I believe that one's mine too. Okay, let me get that. That would be the workout place. So here's the proposed sign. It's way under the 12 square foot. It is 29 by 30, 20, almost 21 by 40. It is also a this is a double-sided half-inch MDO sign. There is an existing bracket on the building. I will pull that up. Oh, that's our next sign, sorry. Got too many signs here to do. This is this one. All right, let's screen share this. So you can, as you can see, there's an existing bracket there with the arm. We're just gonna make a sign and attach it to that. No further, not moving it, no more holes or anything like that in the sign. It is a projecting sign. It is 9 feet, 10 inches to the bottom, which the 8 foot is requirement, so we're way above that. This bracket we already took a look at. It's solid. There's no modification to it. Just basically gonna make this sign and hang it off of there. Any questions?
Yeah, are you inviting the commission to come over and work out?
Yes, he's a really nice guy. He does some really, he just opened up. He's got some really, he doesn't really do workouts, more about conditioning and strength training. So if you have a pulled muscle, he's the guy to see.
All right. If there are no comments, may I have a motion to find the application complete?
I make that motion.
Thank you very much, Paul. And a second, please.
Second.
Thank you, Miranda. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? None? Approved. Next, Tom.
Next one is the poured candle bar. This is a little bit more elaborate sign. This is the sign. To the share screen. This sign is 36 by 32, so we're 9 square feet. It's going to be a carved HTU double-sided sign. It's going to look like a big ball of wax up there because they do candles, as it says. And they wanted the old school look of a stamp like they used to do in the back in the day of an envelope when you stamp your logo in it. That's exactly what this sign is going to look like. It's the HTU. There is an existing rotting bracket there that's about ready to fall down. It's a round tube, just a round square, or round straight tube. We are going to take that one down. We're going to do a nice square tube instead, simple 2 guide wires to hold the weight. And this is what it will look like on the building. Let me grab the right file. So there it is on the building. As you can see, there's one here. This bracket right here below the stairs is coming down. I don't think it belongs to this doorway anyways, but this is the scale. So you can see what it will be like on the building. There is already existing some holes there that we're going to patch. It must have been a sign there at one other time. We're going to fix those, and that's that one. Any questions or concerns?
Nice.
This is going to be a really nice sign, I believe. You know,
Very nice.
it's going to look excellent up there. It's just plain and simple, black and white, not a lot of colors.
Motion, find the application complete, please.
I make that
Thank you
motion.
very much. Paul, Miranda, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion to approve the application, request city attorney Polidoro to prepare a C of A.
I make that motion.
Thank you very much, Paul. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Miranda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None. Thank you. Approved. Okay, next.
Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you very much.
Have a wonderful weekend.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Excuse me, 749 Columbia Street.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, my name is Cecile Ruiz. I am going to be representing 749 Columbia Street. We are Bodega Aguilar Real. We are a small Hispanic store. We also have partially a restaurant component to our store. And okay, I've never done this before, so I actually don't know where to proceed after this.
What, can you share your screen, Cecile, so we see the design?
Oh, okay.
Cool.
Yes, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so this is what it would look like. Currently, it is just the black building with the open flag that we have. And what we are looking to get is the Bodega Aguila Real sign, that little white sign that you see in the center.
Cool.
Hold on, let me see if I have this picture. So it's gonna say Hispanic food, hot foods. I wasn't really able to get it to turn vertical, sorry.
Is that going to be hanging off the wire of the awning frame, or is that going to be flush up against the building?
It's gonna be hanging off of the wire of the awning frame. How do I work this? Yes, do you guys have any questions? It will have a yellow border on the side of it. It's gonna have our logo. Yeah, oh, the measurements. Okay, sorry. So it will be 8 feet wide, 96 inches, and 2 feet high, 24 and 10 inches. So about 2 feet, just like a little more. Relatively though, it shouldn't take up too much space because I was told it might be a little too large. Yeah. Do you have any concerns?
There looks like there's a structure there for an awning.
John, your
John,
audio
there-
is distorted.
Yeah, I didn't quite catch that.
I didn't either. Who spoke?
That was John. Your
Oh,
audio
okay.
is garbled.
It was a little hoarse. Johnny, you good on your mic?
I think he's not hearing us either.
Okay,
His headphones might have died.
sounds like. That said, I'd like to move on. Motion to find the application complete. Anyone?
I'm just have a question as to whether the sign is within the allowable size for the regulations.
That's up to
It's-
code.
Yeah,
We're doing the other part. If Craig vets that from a code point of view, it's allowable.
Also,
Yes, Craig has approved it.
okay.
Is the awning coming back? We don't see it unless it is. Is the awning coming back? Is there, what's the plan for that metal structure?
So the awning, hold on a minute real quick. The awning, we will not have an awning come back. The wiring though is connected to the building. It is from the old Molino bar that was there. Yeah. So we didn't take it down because we thought it might violate the historic code because it was historically there.
Okay.
If you want to take it down, you could ask for permission to do that.
Do I have to do like another meeting for that?
No.
Yeah. Oh, no, I mean, I'm fine with leaving it.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you guys think though? It's really up to you.
I really like the metal siding on this second floor. And I think the remnant of the 1980s awning skeleton is really kind of cool. So I'm good with it. And I think the sign is nice and wonderful store. And I think we go with it.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I agree.
Yep.
Motion to find the application complete.
Motion.
Done. Motion to ask City Attorney Polidor to prepare a C of A. Anyone?
Okay, second.
Paul and second Hugh. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any
I,
opposed? None. Terrific. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You did a good job, Cecile.
Thank you. What would be the next step? I don't know.
Next step is to get in I'm losing everything. Get in touch with Craig in 2 weeks.
Okay,
And he will be able to give you your actual C of A. And then go ahead and do your work.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.
Where were we? Columbia Street? 249, 251 Warren. Also a sign. Is there anyone here?
Yep,
Yes.
that's me for Matthew Signs.
Oh, terrific. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
That's Sarah.
Yes, yep.
Good morning.
Good morning. So for 251 Warren, we had a metal pan sign for Jeffrey Good. It's going to be 40 inches by 20 inches. And I don't have screen share, so I will do my best here to show you what it looks like. And it will come off the building with rods that are 10 inches long, and it's attached to the building with another bracket.
Hey, Sarah, Jeffrey has some kind of signage there now, right?
No, he does not.
Nothing?
Nope, nothing.
Okay.
Yep, this is brand new.
Cool.
So that's what I have for.
There's a real estate sign, is there not?
I don't. These are
Peggy.
these photos that were taken are brand new photos that our sales rep went down and took. So I don't believe there's any signs there at all.
Looks great to me.
I thought Peggy Pollenberg had a sign hanging off that building.
I don't know anything about. I don't see a sign in the photograph.
We could conditionally approve it based on whether or not there's a sign there.
Okay.
Sarah?
Yep.
This is Craig, real quick, if you don't mind, what
Yep.
is, and I didn't see it in the presentation until just now, what is the placard near the door?
That I'm not sure. I didn't see it. Actually, I didn't even notice it before either.
Yeah, because we don't have a visual of the front of the building.
All right, I'll make sure to get that.
One sign, one tenant, one on the front of a building, so
Okay.
if that says the same thing as this proposed sign, then that's obviously not approvable. We'll have to go through the other variant process.
For the variance. Okay, yeah, I can find out what that little sign, that little placard is, and maybe it's something that they can just take down. If not, we'll just go through the variance, and I'll find out about the Peggy Pollenberg sign as well on that building.
All right. So commissioners, are you good approving this? I'm pretty sure Peggy's got some kind of signage, whether it's flush or protruding off the building, but I can't imagine she wouldn't. And Craig, you were saying, assuming that there is a real estate sign, what's the implications of that for these guys?
I believe that would be allowable because real estate's an in-home business. I think they can have that. I'd have to research it. But
Oh, okay. But then Sarah could still go ahead with the sign for her client.
Providing that that little wall placard that she has to tell us if that says the same thing or is for the same business.
Oh, I see. That's what you were saying about two signs. If they're both Jeffrey Good, then he can't have both the plaque and the sign that was just presented.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay. I'll find out.
Terrific. Motion to find the application complete. You, and a second, please. Anyone?
I'll second.
Thank you very much, Paul. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? None. Motion to request City Attorney Polidoro to prepare a C of A. Hugh and Paul, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None? Okay. And Sarah, you'll send the stuff you said you'd send.
Yeah, I'll find out and I'll let Craig know.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem.
437 Warren, sign.
Okay, yep, that's a 36-inch by 36-inch. It's going to be a natural wood hanging sign, and it will be going on an existing bracket. It's going to be made out of MDO. Actually, sorry, natural wood. 36-inch by 36-inch round.
Can you zoom in a little more, Sarah?
Yeah, sure. It wants to go blurry.
Why? This is hard, but no sharing.
Okay.
You guys have any questions about that one?
It's really hard to evaluate without really being able to see the front of the building and putting it in context. Are
Okay.
you sure you can't screen share?
Yeah, I'm on my phone because we don't have computers that have the little camera in them, so. And it's like I said, 36-inch by 36-inch, and it's just going to be a natural wood with black vinyl lettering on it. It's not going to be carved or anything like that.
It's
And it's
interesting.
on an existing bracket?
Yes. It's where Time and Co used to be.
You're
I think that we all know the store and the size fits and there's an existing bracket. I think we could approve
I
this.
agree.
I agree. A motion to find the application complete.
I make that motion.
Thank you very much, Paul. Second, you, all in favor?
All
Aye.
right.
Are there any opposed? None. Motion to ask City Attorney Polidoro to prepare a CVA.
I make that motion.
Thank you, Paul. And a second, please.
Second,
Thank you very much.
Good.
Thank you,
All in
Victoria.
favor?
Thanks, Victoria.
Aye.
I,
All good.
Are there any opposed? None. Okay. Thank you very much. Go Little Vico. What do you have next, Sarah?
I have 239 Warren, which is also a metal pan sign. It's 30 inches by 15 inches. This one's for a new business for Farrell Barton Blake. They're an architectural interiors business.
Sure.
And it looks similar to Jeffrey Good's sign. Same 10-inch, thank you. Same 10-inch brackets that come out from the placard that will be attached to the wall.
Looks good.
fine.
Looks great.
Does. There are no
Aye.
other comments. May I have a motion to find the application complete?
I make that motion.
Thank you, Paul. And a second, Hugh?
Sure.
Well done. All in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? None. Motion to ask City Attorney Polidoro to prepare a CVA.
Motion.
Anyone? Hugh, thank you. And a second, please.
Make that motion.
Paul, thank you. All in favor? Any
I,
opposed? None. Approved. Terrific, Sarah.
Thank you. And I have one more. It's for 417 to 419 Warren Street.
Got
This
it.
one is going to be a 30-inch by 22-inch MDO wood sign, and it is for a company named Mara Hoffman. Her sign will also be going on an existing bracket as well. The background is white and the vinyl lettering would be black.
Nice.
I like it. Looks good. I'd approve it.
Me too.
Awesome.
Okay.
Motion to find the application complete.
I make
And
that motion.
Paul, thank you. A second, Hugh. Well done.
Yeah, I got it. Good.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None.
I,
Motion to ask City Attorney Polidoro to prepare a C of A. Anyone at all?
Sure.
Sure, Hugh, thank you. Second.
I make that motion.
Thank you very much, Paul. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None approved. Cool, Sarah, are you
All
still
right,
there?
thank you. Yeah, I'm still here. Thank you very much.
You got everything approved and you presented some really nice work. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Alrighty.
All right, thanks. I'll be in touch, Craig.
Where are we? Let's do, I've got 422, 424 Warren Street, stoop and railing. And I think that Chip, I believe that's the one where you.
I'm stepping away.
Okay, understood. Who will be presenting?
Hi, I'll present. I'm Jessica and I work with Chip at Bull Architects. Should I just start?
But Jessica, you have your own firm, you're right?
Yes, I do. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so can you see that?
Sure.
Okay, it's the picture of the stoop. Okay, so we're proposing a restoration of this stoop, and we want to replace this one that was probably built in the 1970s when the basement access was eliminated from this building. This is one of 3 identical townhouses built in the last half of the 19th century. All 3 are red brick with bluestone trim, 3-story with heavily bracketed roof cornice. Each townhouse features a dramatic projecting bay window above the front door on large brackets. Originally, all 3 had basement access under the front stoops. This is the adjacent building at 424. It has retained most of the original front stoop design features. The lowest tread at the sidewalk is brownstone and intact. The 4 treads above the lowest have been replaced by a poured concrete mass, slightly narrower in width. This later modification of treads may have been narrowed to increase headroom to the basement. The narrowing may also have been done so the handrail could be connected at its top to the wood trim flanking the front door. And actually, I have another picture of that. Later, awkward steel brackets are used to connect the top rails to the door wood trim. The stair handrails are not fully intact, and they have been bent into outward curves at the bottom, which show deformed, awkward manipulation. This curving also resulted in the removal of the top lamb's tongue cap rail. The flat guardrail that protects the sidewalk from the basement steps is in pristine and original condition. This rail has the double lamb's tongue cap intact and illustrates the original design intent of the handrail, beginning and ending with stout iron posts that feature twisted rope design. This original guardrail design does not rely on attachment to a building wall or other handrail. It is this rail that is used to pattern the proposed restoration at 422. The rails at 424.
Address of this one that you're using as an example?
This one here.
Yeah, the one that you're saying is the
Yeah. So I didn't get your question.
I just want to know what the address is of the building.
This is 424, and our building is next door at 422. So that's 424, and this is 422 here. So I have a drawing to share with you of our proposed design. Okay, so one thing about the original guardrail is it is not code compliant. So we have added a 3/8 inch diameter round rod inserted vertically in the double spiral piece so that open areas of the rail do not exceed the size of a 4-inch sphere. This will maintain the original design intent, but also comply with current code requirements. The proposed handrail will be constructed of solid iron steel with same dimensions as the flat guardrail at 424. The handrails will be painted black. There's no physical evidence at any of the 3 buildings that indicate that the original handrails were attached to the brick walls of the house. Therefore, the proposed rail is fully mounted into the brownstone treads. Using the width of the existing lowest tread at 424, the proposed rails can be grouted a secure distance from the tread ends and still not conflict with wood trim surrounding the front door. The lowest tread of the proposed stoop also has slightly radius vertical corners, as does the existing tread at 424. Since the basement access has been eliminated at 422, the base below the proposed brownstone treads is to be surface-based with 2-inch thick bluestone veneer, which will match in material the bluestone trim used in the original construction of the townhouses. And that's pretty much everything.
Okay. Thank you. Question for the commission is this fix up railing and tread work appropriate? But start with comments. Not so much.
Could we again see the picture with the other houses?
Sure.
The photograph? There we go. Okay.
I mean, scale wise and design wise, it seems appropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love the idea of reproducing those beautiful railings. I think they're.
What are the stairs going to be? What are the stairs themselves made of?
The treads are bluestone, and then the sides are going to have the treads are brownstone, and the sides will have a bluestone veneer.
Yeah, nice. Oh,
I like it. I think it
looks good to me.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Excellent. I have a motion to find the application complete.
I make that motion.
Thank you,
Second.
Paul. Any second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
None opposed. Motion to waive a public hearing and ask City Attorney Polidoro to prepare a C of A.
I make that motion.
Thank you, Paul. Second, anyone?
Second.
Second.
Thank you very much, Miranda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion's approved. Application's approved. Good job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. How do we get in touch with our colleague and bring him back?
I'll call
Right.
I'm here.
him. Oh, okay.
He's back.
Now that was magic. All I had to say is bring Chip back,
He's back.
and he's back.
I'm back.
Terrific. We're gonna skip past 400 State, as I said up front. 226 Union. Who's here representing 226 Union? Walter has his hand up.
It's me, Phil Ham.
Okay.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Phil. How are you?
Very well.
Hi,
For
Phil.
some reason, I can't get my
It's been a
camera.
while.
I apologize. Oh, well. It's not working.
You might have to restart, but let's see how far we can get.
Yep. I'm going to leave the meeting and rejoin.
Phil, how long do you need?
Well, I'm just going to leave and then hit the link to join back in. Everything
I
should be
see.
set up for the camera to work, but
Okay.
There he is. We can see you, Phil.
can you hear me?
Yes,
Very good. Sorry about that.
it's okay.
Why are you being so nice, you?
That's just my
Phil's my
gentleman.
guy. He's a good guy.
I find it brings out the best in me. All right. So I think Craig had some questions about zoning. So I don't know if we want to get those out of the way first, or if we want to.
Oh, if Craig did, yeah. Otherwise, no.
Yeah.
But Phil, I'm kind of unsure where we were at with a zoning review on this, because it appears to me it definitely needs one.
To achieve.
Well, whether it requires variances, and I mean, I believe you're adding the height to a structure. Is this going to be a residential unit, or what's it going to be?
Yeah, it originally started out that it was going to be an art studio, but clients have decided that it would just be a sort of a guest bedroom. There's no kitchen, there is a bathroom.
So that there alone creates a habitable, sleeping area. So there's a different code review that's required, and it may require variance through the zoning process.
Yeah.
I think you may be able to move forward with the historic, but if it does require a zoning review, I just won't approve your building permit until we get that.
Yeah, absolutely. I would, after this meeting, sit down with you and discuss what that path is.
Yep.
We did get approval for 2 stories when we went for bulk area regulation zoning variance.
Yeah, and that's where I'm unsure, because that sounds to me like that original application is now changing.
Yeah, I guess we should sit down and review that to see if it is in fact changing.
But with that said, Phil, I think, there's no reason why you can't move forward on the historic presentation. And if they approve it, if anything changes based on that approval, you would
come
have
back
to them.
I understand.
Yep.
Thanks very much, Craig.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. All right. So basically what we're looking to do is there's an existing CMU garage that we want to knock down and build a new structure in its place, 2-story parking on the first floor, and then stair up to an open second floor with a bathroom. I'm going to share my screen with you. Do you see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so this is a view from the alley. And this here is the garage door. There are double hung windows above the door. We're looking to go with a flat roof, so we keep the height as minimal as possible. This is the existing garage. Here's a view from the street, looking back through the open yard that's to the right of the house. And you'd see the garage through that area to some degree. Obviously, the photograph has more plantings and vegetation to screen the view than my computer model does. The intention is that it would be clapboard to match the house. These double hung windows are Marvin Elevates, which is a fiberglass window. They're looking to, just try to tighten the budget up as much as possible. The garage doors obviously are glazed as well. Here's a front view. There'll probably be some lights that get added over the garage door. I didn't have it on the computer model.
The roof does not look flat from here. Is it flat?
I'm sorry.
Is the roof flat or peaked?
It's got, yeah, you can see here, it's just got a slight peak to it, but it looks flat from ground level. Again, to avoid going too tall. And then here you can see the existing compared to what would be built. This is the view from inside the yard. And you would see this inside the yard. Basically, the elevations are the same both on both sides of the building for the yard and for the alley. And then on the site plan, the red indicates where the existing garage is. And the new location for the newly built garage is built here so that it gets centered on this back width of the house.
So is the footprint the same size, but it's just moved over a bit?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, and I show what, this is the new elevation on the side of the house. The new elevation on the rear of the house, which you can see here. The idea is that I want to play off of the verticality expressed on the windows with the design layout on the garage. And that's what it was.
I think in terms of design, the building is in keeping with a lot of the garages and rear buildings on a lot of the alleys. Of course, a modern version of it, but the clapboard, the moldings. I like it. I think it's in keeping with the house and the neighborhood.
I think it's really beautiful, but I would also say that, as we've discussed in this commission before, it's changing the massing, right? Like things that we've done in the past have generally been, sure, you want to replace this 1950s garage, but replace it with something that is the same story, the same width, the same general feeling. And I will say it again, this is really lovely, but it is different. And I wonder if it doesn't merit a public hearing. Sorry to be a broken record.
Yeah, well, there are a fair amount of flat roofed or very low slope roof garages throughout the city. So I was looking to those as a source of inspiration.
No, the fact that the roof is flat is not really a problem. It's just that it's now 2 stories. So it is considerably more massive than it was before.
Yeah, it does look a little imposing, as we look at it on the screen, and it certainly is different.
Well, but I also think that there are. Sorry,
what other zoning requirements are outlined for this accessory building?
They limit garages to 15 feet high.
And how tall is this?
I'm getting that right now. To this point here,
yes,
it's about 20 feet, which is why I didn't want to do a gable roof or a taller roof on the building. So, is to minimize that.
I'm sorry, Phil, you had a conversation, I think, up front with Craig that there may be some discussion of zoning. And you'd have to come back to us if there are any changes. Is that correct?
Yes, I would definitely do that.
So beyond that, I don't think it's
What
a
was the
commission
variance?
concern.
I'm curious what the variance was for. Did the variance limit the height to 20 feet?
Can I chime in real quick? This is Craig.
Yep.
I'm looking at your variance approval from 2019. And all it ever indicated was the attachment to the existing structure to the main residence. There is nothing in there indicating the accessory structure being demolished and reconfigured, because the first step with that is an existing non-conforming can only remain existing non-conforming when demolished if it gets put back in the same exact footprint. If that changes, then it has to fall into a compliance to our code. And in most cases, this will not. So it's definitely going to need an area variance based on the 15-foot setback rule. And of course, the lot coverage and everything. Once you move that structure, now it has to come in compliance with the zoning code. And we have no record of any of that. The only record we have is, of course, the proposal that was presented back in 2019. And I believe that was by yourself and the applicant's attorney, Crystal.
Yeah, Crystal.
I'm looking right at it and there's nothing in there indicating moving that building. So with that said, I mean, I can't tell this commission or even make any type of input on what they should do, but I can tell you this, that what you're proposing to the building code will not be approved.
What I suggest is that the board give feedback on compatibility, but that you hold off on voting because it sounds like there may be, some additional changes that have to be made.
I agree with that approach.
And just so everybody knows, this was why I was trying to reach out to, to Phil Ham, the presenter, because I wasn't 100% sure what was going on and what was being proposed matched up to what their zoning was previously. And now I was able to find it and locate it. So otherwise it would have never even got to this point if I would have had this, and
okay.
So I apologize for that.
Not at all. It actually was interesting to see and anyway.
Could I think it's really valuable for the commission to provide some feedback. I like the way that Victoria has outlined our role with this. I think that makes perfect sense for us to be able to give them some feedback. Maybe Phil, you feel like it's better that we don't speak at all. I'm easy either way.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
I'm sorry, I was asking Phil Foreman.
Okay.
Sorry, Phil Ham.
Okay.
Phil Foreman, I think we have two ways that we could go with this. As Victoria outlined, we could provide some completely non-committal observations and opinions about it, but not vote on it. The other approach would be not to review it at all until it comes back from zoning. So
I think we should wait till it gets through zoning, in my opinion. Like we shouldn't direct our cycles at something that may not be permissible.
Well, I guess what I was thinking was if the board felt strongly about a gabled roof and he has to go for a height variance, it might be good to have that input now versus him getting a variance for flat roof and then you come back and say we really prefer something taller. I think I was just talking about big picture items.
To your point, Chip, thank you. But you know me, I'm just crazily laissez-faire. I think my only issue right now is my body, where I'm struggling to maintain, and that would be the only reason to shorten the conversation. I actually think this is a very cool concept. I think that the alleys, in some cases, open up an opportunity for a little bit of experimentation that might be somewhat different than stuff we would do on the main drags. And yet, at the end of the day, this is actually a rather conservative design using familiar themes and materials that I don't know. I think it's a pretty nice piece of work. I understand the issue of mass, and that's probably the single biggest concern about what is happening and is going to continue to happen on the alleys. It's extraordinarily tempting for a homeowner, if they're going to invest all that money, to take advantage of the opportunity to actually have something more than a garage and create some real space. And if that happens over and over again, the beautiful light that defines the alleys eventually will go away. But
And that's why I think that's why the citizenry gets an opportunity to contribute their opinion and should be considered.
okay, but if we're going to do a public hearing, we should bring forward what the real deal is. And I'm gonna suggest we wrap up this conversation and let Phil go back and go through whatever zoning approvals he needs.
I would just like to offer one thing quickly, Phil, about the 15-foot height limit. There are setback requirements as well from the backyard and from the side yards. The 15-foot height requirement is essentially in zoning saying this can be a 1-story building or a 1.5-story building. At 15 feet, it's not really high enough to include 2 full stories.
Yeah.
And I think they're just really serious zoning issues, and you just brought it up about light and air and, you know, all the modifications that are potential if everyone were to build a building of this size on their lot. Then the alley becomes a streetway, not necessarily an alleyway.
That's
And
right.
I agree with that. I think it's very well said.
I think that's a concern for the commission.
Okay.
Such as fire protection, smoke alarm systems, proper egress systems, things of that nature.
Thank you.
All right, commissioners, I would ask that we follow some wise advice and move on, and ask that first of all, congratulations, Phil, on your work, but we're going to ask that you go ahead through the zoning process and then come back to us.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for your time. Everybody have a good day.
Something of a guarantee from any.
451 East
Can I
Allen.
make a, Craig, go on mute?
Hang on one second.
Craig, hey, could you go on mute, please?
I'm sorry, I missed all that. Is there anyone here from 451 East Allen?
Yes, that's me, Gerard Eisler.
Hi, Gerard. How are you?
Hi, good morning. I'm calling you guys from the road. So 451 East Allen, that's pretty much a restoration, and very little as far as really no alterations. So why don't I just share what I have? And let's see here. I am going to share my screen. Okay. Can you see my screen?
No.
Not so much.
All right, let's see here.
There you go.
All right, that should be coming up. Let's see here. Okay. So here on the screen, that first image that we have here is the house in its original, or close to its original state in the early 1900s. And you can see the stairway there up to the house, which is one of the things that we're going to be rebuilding. And also on the second floor, right above the entryway, there's a railing there that we're also looking to recreate. The windows and the shingles and all those things will remain the same. The windows will be restored because they're in good condition. And And then the two pictures right below are the existing. And right now it's just kind of like a makeshift, walkway there because it was used as a commercial residence and the railing is not there. And the images right below are actually our next door neighbor who has pretty much the identical house and was created by the same architect. And you see they produced the railings there at the top, and also they have restored their staircase, which is wood, which is what we're proposing, and really just creating the identical railing in the second floor. And so this next image are the drawings from the architect, John Loescher. And so here the staircase, the profile of the staircase will have the same shingles as the house has, and will also be painted the same color as the house. And in the photo next to it is just showing the front of the stairs and the proposal there, and going up to the house. And on the next drawings, you'll see just a little bit more detail, and the stairs will be made of wood, and keeping in line with what was there originally. And then the last image here I have is the railing at the second floor, which is the as mentioned earlier, the identical profile as to what the neighbors have done next door, which was part of their restoration. And that's it.
Cool. Thank you.
Did I see in your drawing that the handrail, the baluster on the second floor is a board slat that then is cut out in the shape of a more highly turned piece?
Yes.
And so it's like 1.5 inches thick. It's a board, and the front of it is cut out to form the shape of an urn shaped turned baluster.
Yes.
And is that the case with the property next door?
I believe so. I can't say for sure because I haven't actually been up there.
Uh-huh. Do you have that photograph of the house next door?
Yeah.
We could look at?
Sure. I can pull that up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it looks like. It's very cool. It's a very cool design. Very nice.
Thanks. Well, thanks to them, and thanks for that compliment as well.
Yeah, it looks very good.
Can you take us back to your house again? Yeah, this enlarge the drawing at the bottom underneath the photograph. Yes, this one on the right hand side, just your after picture, what you intend for it to look like.
Yeah, this is the intention right here.
Right, so you're keeping that scooped railing on the top of the steps.
Yeah.
You're just adding in the steps with a box on either side.
Exactly. Exactly. And the sides of that box
and the
also.
columns. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's nice.
Very nice.
It'll be nice to see that house take shape.
Yeah.
I live
Yeah,
nearby.
it's slow going, but it'll get there.
Yeah.
Any other comments, folks?
No, I like it.
That's terrific.
I do too.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's gonna look terrific. A motion to find the application complete?
I make that motion.
Thank you,
Second.
Paul. And a second?
Second.
In favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? None. Motion to waive a public hearing and request city attorney to prepare a C of A.
I make that motion.
Paul, thank you. And Hugh, second. In favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Approved. Thank you. Well done.
Great. Thank you.
Good presentation.
Where am I? 202 Allen Street, and I apologize for jumping the queue a little bit on this, but it was an application that had come in March, and I think we missed it. And they need to finish their work. Kim, you're here.
I am. Hi, and Kate's here as well, of course.
Oh, terrific. Good morning, y'all.
Hi, Kate. Thanks. Thank you for fitting us in. So to jump right into it, we had visited with you, I want to say a month ago, to talk about doing some doors and lights. Today, we're talking mostly about signage, so let's just go right through it. I should be sharing my screen. If I'm not, please.
You are.
Let me know. So our site, we're not changing anything as far as the location or the amount. This, of course, is the building. We can flip back to these if you need. I mentioned the prior approval or some sliding glass doors, double painted hollow metal doors, emergency lights, and fabric awnings above windows. This time around, we're looking for new signage and entry lighting on Partition Street, new banners on South 2nd and Allen, new vinyl graphics on Allen Street, and the previously approved awnings. We have a minor design update that we wanted to bring to your attention for approval. So looking at it, this is, of course, Partition Street. This is South 2nd. We are looking to relocate the existing wall sconce. That is basically where the new sliding glass door is. We're just looking to move it over and reuse it. We want a new signage light that'll glow up these raised letters that we have here. We are indicating the location of the new fabric banners, and then the awning change. The only difference is we put end caps, so they're finished on the sides. Before they were just open. We think it's a better finished look. And then just noting the exterior finish paint remains the same. We do have some lines going around doors. And then going to look at the view of the corner of Allen Street here. This is South 2nd. Again, we're showing the awnings with the sides. We show fabric banners, and then we have new signage at the glass that'll be vinyl. If I just zoom into these elevations, just to be a little bit more clear, again, just stating over and over the awnings, the fabric banner locations, the two lights, this signage, and then of course the vinyl graphic here, which we'll see, of course, the logo and indication as far as the ADA accessible entrance on Partition Street. And I believe that's basically it. Then we just show some more details as far as the signage itself.
Forgive me, Kim. John Chobel, if you're there, could you take over for a bit? I got to step away.
I am here and I can, but Phil, I have to drop at 12 for sure.
Thank you very much, John. I just need to get some water or something.
No problem.
Can I just comment? I like everything about what I'm seeing. The only thing I would question, and I think we might have to discuss, is the banners on the corner of 2nd and Allen.
2nd and Allen, that's
right there, yeah.
Why are you questioning that?
Well, because it's a very residential neighborhood.
But this is an industrial building that's been there for a long time. It's clearly not a residential building.
No, it's not, but it's in a residential neighborhood.
So you're suggesting maybe one banner or no banners?
Maybe just one and keep that on 2nd, but even that, I mean, there's.
Well, then you also have to, there's another question, which is, does it really serve the facade well to have those hanging there?
Yeah.
Right, in that element. But
I mean,
I would be, oh, go ahead, Miranda, please.
No, I'm just going to be a little contrarian here. I think it does call out the fact that this is a commercial building and an industrial building. It is a mixed neighborhood. It's true that mostly it's residential, but I think that's a justification for having the banner, actually, so that people will be able to find what they're looking for in this residential neighborhood. I think it's very much in keeping with the style of the building that it's on. Even though
they're not very, I don't think they're extremely large either. They're not overwhelming.
No. I
mean, if you want to do one, I understand that, but I definitely think there could be one and it wouldn't be obtrusive.
Let's see if other commissioners have an opinion. Chip, do you care either way?
Yeah, I'm I think, as Miranda said, this is an industrial building. It is, but I appreciate the point that Paul is making about it being in a residential zone. I think it's really important to be sensitive to the residential aspect of it. I think that I'm not so troubled by the banners. I think it would be really important that they not be lit. I don't know. I think that lighting is probably of this building is maybe a greater issue relative to its being part of a residential zone. For instance, I don't find the banners, I think the banners are in keeping with the building. And I think they're celebrating, as Miranda says, it's an industrial building. So I'm not upset. I'm not bothered by them as much as by the potential for how the building will be lit, because I think that's will have a greater impact in being sensitive to the residential zone than the banner.
All right, I'm gonna just speak then as the commissioner. I don't actually like the band. I mean, they're beautiful, right? They look lovely and elegant. But I'm just reminded of how, what they call out to me is how much I love the facade of this building. And it's an architectural element added to this building. I understand the commercial purpose for it, but that's not what the evaluation is. And if it were up to me, I wouldn't have the banners. And if the commission was against the banners, I also would. But
How do you feel about the one banner compromise? Take it off
the facade and put
off
it on
the Allen Street side and keep it on the Second Street side.
I would find that a great compromise.
And just to be clear, there's one here. There's one here. So this is on South Second.
And partition.
On South Second, and then this is Allen. So there's 3 total.
And it's not, for me, it's not about for me, it's more about the appropriateness of this new architectural element on this historic building. It's historic in a different context, right? So for me, it's about that rather than whether it's disruptive for a commercial residential.
Yeah, I appreciate. Sorry, I appreciate that comment very much. I think it brings up the matter of the painted sign or the raised letter sign that's on the partition street on the alley side. That's one type of signage, and then with these banners, it's the second type of signage. I don't know, maybe maybe the whole graphic assembly would be stronger if it were just, if there weren't banners and there was another graphic as indicated to the left of the door in this image.
My issue with the banners, I'm sorry, Chip, I don't mean to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
My issue with the banners is they're changing the profile of the building, right? And forever. So you're gonna see that, the next, we try to view this in the long term. The banners are in addition to the building forever, and in my opinion, they disrupt the lines and the purity of it. So I don't think they're so great.
I think
the overall
it's an
treatment, and
excellent
I'm so excited for the project. I hope this doesn't come across in any way. Kate and Kim is negative about the project. It's going to be stunning. I'm looking at it through a different lens.
I mean, I think that with the addition of the awnings, which changes the profile of the building as well, having, the banners, which are, I think, in proportion and serve the purpose of, what they need to do are not, I just feel that they are appropriate for a commercial building. And, just for me, I don't have a problem with, I would lose one of them in the front, and I don't have a problem with it. That would be my take.
I agree with you. And I also sympathize very much with Chip's comments about the lighting, which in terms of whether it's disruptive to the.
But the lighting's not really, is the lighting?
But the
really
lighting
changing?
isn't a problem, but we would, I do agree that these banners shouldn't be lit. They're not asking to light them. We should be sure they wouldn't be.
Yeah, and as far as the lights, these sconces are all existing. This one would be relocated about 2 feet to the right. It exists about here today. And then this light, of course, would be a wall washed light that would just light up the sign. It would not intrude upon the street or the neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I think the fact that that's in Partition Street, which is kind of an alley, I think that actually is suitable in that spot.
So to go back to the banners, and I completely hear both of your sides, and I know that the argument as far as, you know, wanting to bring attention to the commercial space, that's not the argument here, of course. This is looking at the building and its historical significance and you know, being, thinking as John was saying about the overall profile. I'm sure we could talk about a compromise, and Kate, of course, stop me if I'm wrong, but I just want to make sure we're clear on what that compromise is that you'd be proposing. What I'm hearing, it sounds like it would be one of these to be removed.
I'm gonna say, just from my perspective, I would approve everything except the banners. And then if that's the vote, I would vote yes on that. And then there's obviously people that would approve it as it is. So.
Well, I would remove the banner that's on the Allen Street side, that one. Because I think Chip and everybody's made a good argument about that facade having a period look. That
And you
is
do have,
very
and you do have the
clean,
vinyl.
and there's no awnings on that side or anything. So I think that that maintaining that facade has some value.
And you do have the vinyl in the front entryway on the Allen Street side with the Talbot and Arning logo. So if we were to take off one banner off the front facade and leave the other two, I personally am okay with that.
Kate, do you have any reaction to that?
No, I mean, I'm fine with that. I mean, I do understand, you know, both, you know, all the perspectives. I think the purpose in our minds for having the banners was because it is essentially a three-sided frontage, as it were, to the business. If people were driving, you know, from Allen Street or Second Street or Partition, that the building would be identifiable. You know, originally we were thinking of having the Talbot and Arding written on the awnings, and we dropped that idea because it was sort of too much, I felt. But yes, I mean, obviously we're here to comply. So, you know, if we have to lose a banner or two, then so be it.
I think if you lost both of these corner banners, then I would vote for it right away. But I'm only one vote. There's 6 people here.
Well, so where are we? We have to take, we want to vote on this?
I had a question. I'm sorry. I'd stepped away, but I followed this bit of the conversation. The logo that you're using, the round logo that's embraced into the wall, is fairly significantly different from the logo you're using on the banners. Is there a theory of the case on that?
You're talking about on the Partition Street side?
There's what's emblazoned in the wall.
Yeah,
is not the same logo as used elsewhere.
We looked at various options for the design of the banners, and if you look at the actual logo, which is the one left to the left of the door,
Yes, that is your logo.
Exactly. There's quite a lot going on, you know,
Sure.
in that. And when we were doing the mock-up designs and we tried that on the banner, it was quite difficult to read. So, especially from a distance, and I think simpler is better. And so for that reason, we collectively went with this simpler design.
Understood.
I'd just like to say that I'm good with the banners, with 3 of them, and I think it carries with the building, and I love the normal harmony that the board has. And John, I have a great deal of respect for your opinion, but I just got to tell you, I'm okay with it.
So Chip, you would lose Allen Street though?
No, I think they're all good. I think the 3 banners are
Okay.
fine.
So I may not be tracking. I think what we should do is take our regular process in terms of the completion of the application, and then vote up or down on the presentation as it is being presented now. with all the banners and see where that takes us. And then if we have to compromise, we'll bring that to the discussion.
Great.
May I have a motion to find the application complete?
So
Motion.
moved.
Done? And a
Second.
second, please.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Mhm.
Aye.
Opposed, none. I'm asking then that the commission vote on the solution that was brought to us today by the applicant with what is it, 3 banners in the awnings?
Right.
Yes.
Is that correct?
And the back logo on
That's
the,
what's
by
on
the
the
door.
table, and that was the presentation. And then we can talk about if we need to take another step. All in favor of what was proposed? We can do this by roll call. I think it makes sense. We're just voting on what was proposed by the applicant. Miranda?
Yes. I vote for that,
Hugh?
to keep.
Yeah, aye. As is, it's fine.
Paul?
Oppose.
John Chauvel?
Opposed.
Chip?
Approved. Yes.
Phil? Aye. Was anyone counting?
4-2.
4-2.
Looks like we're what?
Yeses.
4-2.
Four
again.
ayes, 2 noes.
Motion
It's done.
carries.
City Attorney Polidoro, did we do that right?
Yep, four is a affirmative vote.
Okay, it's approved.
Awesome.
Thank you guys very much for what you
Thank
brought
you.
to the city of Hudson on all kinds of dimensions, starting with great food and followed by great architecture.
Well, thank you. We look forward to welcoming you in there in hopefully 6 or 7 weeks. Thank you, Phil.
Fantastic.
Thank you, everyone.
Really exciting.
Good
Bye.
luck, Kate.
Thank you.
Luck.
Okay, we saved possibly the best for last. With Walter Chatham and 400 State Street, and I have seen most, if not all, the communications back and forth. I appreciate all of the research work that Gossips did, that Paul Barrett did, and of course the work that Walter did. And I'm asking, I know that the topic can get a little intense, that we remain kind with one another and thoughtful about what everybody has to present, because everybody's presenting with great thought and has to date. So we should lead right now then with 400 State. The topic is, as I understand it very specifically, tends to come down to 9/9 versus 12/12. There's other stuff around that, but I think that is the focal point. And Walter Chatham, thank you for your patience. I put you at the end, not as punishment, but because I knew this was an important discussion and wanted all the other stuff out of the way. So I appreciate your hanging in.
I'm delighted. May I share my screen?
Please do.
Okay, let's see if this works. Here we go. Can you see my screen?
No, not yet.
Oh dear. All right, this happens sometimes.
It'll come.
Is it happening? I see my screen. You don't see it?
No.
Okay, let me try this again. All right, I see. Oh boy. Okay. How about now?
Right.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So thank you, everybody. I'm going to be really brief. I think we've all, I've had a wonderful debate with Carol and Gossips. I think everybody understands their different points of view. My point of view, coming at this from the point of view of an architect who is working today in conditions that are different, but psychologically and culturally probably very similar to the early 19th century. The period of this building is after the Americans have won the revolution. And more than that, we've beaten the Brits back. And in 1818, we signed the something Bagot Treaty that guaranteed free navigation of the Great Lakes and opened the border to Canada for trade, and also established permanent borders, all conditions for a peaceful country that no longer needed medieval windows to shoot Indians through or bivouac British troops or American troops, whoever was occupying Harvard when troops were back at Harvard. So I maintain quite simply that when you see a fanlight window, that's a signal that it's a federal building. And if it's a federal building, the owners were aspirational, just like people who want to put balconies on buildings now to make them look more aspirational. And you would have shown everybody that you could buy the biggest windows that money could buy. And so I think we're arguing, I wrote Carol this morning in the best of spirit, you know, you wouldn't wear earth shoes to a Donner Summer concert. There's fashion, and fashion is what's missing here. What works for an insane asylum doesn't work for a federal style building built in 1818, I believe, in my heart of hearts. So having said that, you know, we've got the quote here from the reliable source that says thin wooden mullions. Before the Revolutionary War, the standard light was 6x8, but as glazing technologies improved, sizes increased to 8x13. Generally, windows featured 6/6 lights, although 9/9 and other configurations can also be found in federal style homes. And then my favorite quote of all, which keeps me sane, Thomas Jefferson, if it's that important, don't ever give up. Now, I think this is an interesting situation because I'm willing to go to the mat for what I think is a question of style. That's all we're talking about is architectural style. And so if we want to talk facts, here's a factual representation of an actual house in Nantucket with 9/9 windows, no big deal. It's a small house with small windows. If they were 12/12s, they would have been excellent for defensive purposes, but not so great for letting light in the house. That's what windows do. They let light in. Everybody knows this house. I've been accused of showing weird projects from all sorts of places in the world. I was trying to show a limestone building with a sympathetic window. I can't find another limestone building in Hudson. So here's a brick one. Pretty good pedigree, I think. And there's the fanlight window. The door is identical, the 6-panel door, to the engraving that everybody's talking about. And because it's not a lunatic asylum, it has domestic scaled windows in fashion and appropriate to the time. So that is what we were asking permission to do. Here's a rendering that shows modifications that most importantly include an exact dimensioned representation of the existing window opening with a 9/9 window built in. And I'm going to explain that very quickly. I'm not going to belabor this, but again, all the hallmarks are there that this is a federal building. Find me federal buildings that were built deliberately with 12/12 windows that are not of such a scale that gives you big glass. All I'm arguing is that people didn't put little windows in if they didn't have to, just like today. So these are the measured drawings that we've made. A couple of things I want to explain very quickly. I discovered this frame exists because the masonry wall is solid. There's no place to put sash weights. And although one would assume this building was built before sash weights, the windows at some point were adapted. So there is an existing frame there. And this is pretty much a typical window setup with the existing details. You can see this is about 1.5 inches, 2 inches, 2 inches, so forth. So we've analyzed the old windows. We believe this is the correct proportion. And here is a 9/9, and you end up with a pane that is 9.5 inches by 10 inches. So just ever so slightly high. And miracle of miracles, it seems to work with the other openings in the building. Here's a section, and I can blow this up if it's useful. And I think you all also have this. So sorry. Yeah, I don't know if this is helpful or not, but I've gone to quite a bit of length to actually draw it as it would appear with the double hung window in the frame. And then I have a photograph, which hopefully I can find now. Okay, inside. So this is obviously the thickness of the wall here. Can you see that? Am I sharing my screen?
Yes.
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 So this is the thickness of the wall here. And this is that area that's on the outside, that's just about 4 inches total, which is covering a box that actually contains the sash weights. You can see there's the pulley there. So our proposal essentially is to leave all of this as intact. And as Carol pointed out, the sash was replaced, and the sash is the operable part of the window when it was made into an asylum. So we're asking permission to replace the current 2/2 sash, which we passionately, with all of our heart and intellect, believe would be the appropriate historical window. They'll be made as thin as possible in terms of the muttons and putty, the famous putty on the outside. And there's the profile that everybody says is the correct federal profile on the inside. And I believe that concludes my presentation.
Hey, Walter,
Yes.
it's Phil.
Yeah.
I tried to keep up with the information coming in. It is my best understanding that from the woodcut from whatever that was, 1830, which was broadly seen in some other stuff, that during the asylum period of this building, what was in there was 12/12s, or at least that's what depicted.
Totally uncontested, factually agreed to at 100%. Let me see.
Okay, so then the question is, I guess,
sorry,
we've documented the point you're making is, sure, at that time that was appropriate if you were in the insane asylum business. But if you were not in the insane asylum business, the probability is fairly high that you would not have used 9/9, 12/12. You would have had a solution that offered more light. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. And I further would maintain that aside from the fact that we all agree it's not a brick building, which this rendering suggests, that if you actually look at the way these windows are drawn, you see there are lines there that suggest they did overlay, in fact, what Carol said. They took out the old sash and replaced it with a cheerful white painted metal sash. And again, Chip Bowl was talking about how, or sorry, the person presenting for Chip's office was talking about how they're inserting a very delicate metal rod in what originally wouldn't have had a rod in order to maintain the required less than 4-inch separation of the pickets. I maintain that when I want to punch my hand through the window, that window is made so I can't grab the attendant by the throat when I get it through. I'm not being facetious. These bars were put on this window for a purpose. And again, I'm sorry to be so long-winded, but it just seems to me that when you consider this element right here, which almost seems to suggest, in spite of the poorness of the rendering, a kind of delicate filigree, and then you compare it to this idea that this had, these very large panes up here, meaning a foot or larger, right. And then you're going down here to a different scale. And why is that? Did the designer really do that on purpose? I say no.
So let me continue my quest on this a little bit. The fact that there were in fact 12/12s is uncontested. the fact that at the same period of time, in many situations that were not insane asylums, that there were other solutions, 9/9 or whatever, more appropriate to a residential situation. The other aspect of these 12/12s is that, again, because of the purpose that they were there for safety, they were reinforced with metal and whatever. And in a sense, it was a purposive solution for this particular application, which was appropriate to that. But if that application had not been what was going on, then 9/9 or something else probably or almost certainly would have been used, and there certainly wouldn't have been metal rods. The other then issue is we're in the appropriateness business. And what's facing the commission now is the fact that we can document that as an insane asylum, there were 12/12s, and the fact that we can document as historians and architects and other bright people, excluding me, who doesn't know that much, that 9/9 certainly would have been appropriate to a building of this period. And that's the end of my thought, and other folks should query this further.
Well, I'll just speak, I don't want to be long-winded at all. This is about style and evolution of architecture and appropriateness and all of those things that are within our purview. And, for me, I think it's appropriate and it looks good. And for all the other reasons that Walter had brought up, I think that it's going in a very good direction and it looks terrific. And, it's 2021, it's not 1821. And, here we are trying to make a building great again. And I feel strongly that we're going in that direction. So I'm for it.
I mean,
the 9/9s.
I'm going to argue the opposite view, which is that if everything is a matter of style, then what's the purpose of historic preservation, right?
But it depends on the use. There's been.
Can I just say, sorry, I meant the style of the time. I meant what they would be looking at in 1818. Wow,
that's what I'm saying.
But it doesn't fall. It defies, in my opinion. First of all, we have the engraving. That's the hardest thing to get over. Like, there it is, right? So everything else is some kind of is speculative in my opinion. And the second thing is, why did they change every window in this massive facade in such a short period of time? That also, Occam's razor. What's most likely to be is, and those are the things that I find very hard to get by. The only reason that in the last meeting I went along was because, to Hugh's broader point, we have to get this building deserves love. It deserves the attention it's getting. It deserves a future as well as a past, and that's the only reason. But it's intellectually dishonest, I think, from my perspective, to say, "Oh, those 12/12s weren't there." They were.
No one said that, John.
No, but whether they were there or not there, here we are now, and what makes the building more functional in 2021 and lets more light in and does all of those things.
Is functional
What's that? Oh,
can I just say, the two earliest images we have demonstrate 12/12. Anything I've read of asylums or lunatic asylums or mental hospitals is light was important. They wouldn't have gone from larger pane windows to smaller pane windows. And from a practical standpoint, when Dr. White organized the lunatic asylum, he had 3 benefactors. This was not a public institution. practically speaking, and someone just made that point, I don't think they went around and changed 50 windows. My interpretation is there was a metal bar reinforcement somewhere that would have prevented opening. But again, you know, that's, I just don't think it would have made sense to go around and change out all the windows from larger panes to smaller panes.
Yeah, I
No
want to
one
jump in for a
disagrees that
second.
there were 12 over 12s. No
No,
one.
no, no, but no,
Yeah.
but
The
was it-
building
was not no one agrees. Does everyone agree that the building was constructed with something else and then turned to 12 over 12 in an asylum?
No.
I find that
Probably not. It was an almshouse and it was probably the same windows. I don't think
Right.
that's what the discussion is about.
discussion
yes,
And
whether
I-
10 over 9 is
Yeah.
suitable and appropriate now.
Yeah, I mean, I think John made a very insightful comment last week, I think, when he said, this is not the aesthetics committee, it's the historic preservation
Yes.
commission. And I think this building is a unique structure in our city. It's not just one of the buildings on one of the side streets. It's really a prominent piece of historic architecture. So whereas in a, you know, one of many buildings, even on Warren Street, I might be convinced by Hugh's argument that, you know, windows change with the times, and we can show that 9 over 9 did exist at this period. And so this could have had 9 over 9 windows. I'm very much convinced by the 8 over 8 window that still exists in that western gable. If you go over there and look, that is this fenestration. It's there.
Excuse me, Miranda, but
I've
it's
got
actually
the
in the
picture.
drawing that's presented.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
not-
I mean, there's, you know, the argument that was made that, you know, the engraving might not be accurate. I think that window belies that. I've really given this a lot of thought because generally I'm on the liberal side in these arguments, but I feel in this case, okay, so the building was an almshouse and a lunatic asylum. That's its history. And that's what we ought to be preserving, I think.
One other comment regarding the proportion of the windows in your, I'm sorry, Walter, you have a picture up there that you wanted to address. I'm sorry.
Well, no, it's okay. That is the famous window that is supposedly an existing window. I believe this is a commercially made 20th century window. But again, it's kind of moot. Really, for me, what this comes down to is there's an owner who doesn't want to put in the tiny panes and has the option, I believe, of just going with replacing like kind. And I've done my best job to convince you all that as an amateur historian, I believe as a federal building, it's very likely these were 9 over 9s. You all decide what you want, whatever you want to do, but just please be aware at the end of this discussion, it's going to be a choice for the owner between 2 over 2 and 9 over 9. And the 2 over 2 will be a 2 over 2, and the 9 over 9 will be a very pencil thin, mullioned, single glazed window that we all dream of. So I don't know what else to say. That is the Solomon-like choice that this committee should make. And I think we should stop talking about any other issues and just decide what you want to do.
If you don't mind, Walter, I'd like to just say a couple things. And with this image that you have up there now in the proportion of that window, which may in fact be the proportion of the second floor windows, which in your proposal would be, I believe, in this
6.
window sash.
I'd have
with
6,
this,
not 8.
Yeah, you would have 6. So take this proportion of this window sash that we're looking at right now, and I ask everyone that's looking at it now to say, okay, instead of it being 4 lights wide, it would be 3 lights wide. It would still be 2 tall, 2 in number tall, but 3 wide. And you can see that the proportion of that glass does become horizontal, not vertical. So I think that it is quite a contribution to this discussion to see this existing 4 wide light window.
I have to disagree. I'm sorry not to interrupt.
Okay, but let me finish, Walter. I just want to
with the 3
let me finish if I could. The drawing that you have up now you are showing 5 feet 4.5 inches of height in the window that is to the left in the bottom page of this image. If you could just bring it up a little bit.
That one, yeah.
That 5 feet 4 inches, that includes the, that would be the sash. That would include the bottom rail of the sash, the top rail of the sash, and the meeting rail of the two sashes. So in that measurement, we don't, I think you have maybe about 2.5 inches of bottom rail and 2.5 inches of top rail. That's 5 inches, and maybe 2.5 inches of the meeting rail, which is narrower than the top and the bottom sash because it overlaps.
I think they're all 2 inches there, Chip, and this is 1 inch, or sorry, this is 1 inch there, yes.
Okay, so that gets us up to 2 inches. That gets us up to 5 inches, plus the thickness of each mullion, so that the free glass area in this drawing is not 10 inches high of each pane. It'll be less than that because of the simple math of reducing the wood thickness out of this. Now, again, I think that this is, you're thinking about this in terms of 9/9, and the proportions of it ends up with a glass pane that in
Oh, Chip, you froze.
I do think we, let's see if he comes back.
I did this drawing myself in the computer, and that is a computer measurement there. I just don't know what to say when he comes back.
I'm not understanding. Chip, can you hear us? Are you gonna log back in?
Am I back?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry. So the fact that this free glass area of the windows is horizontal and not vertical, I think is completely contrary to any building of this, that's completely contrary to this building. I think that the proportion of the free glass area of each pane should be a vertical, not horizontal. I think it's also really interesting that you bring up this issue of the pockets for the sash weights, because it's distinctly possible that this original building did not have sash weights. And that would allow you to actually increase the width of the free glass area significantly into the masonry, more proportionally to the masonry opening. And that would bring more light and vision into the building than when it was reduced by the pockets for the sash weights. You showed a photograph earlier from the interior that showed that thickness, which also suggested that maybe there was an interior shutter that may have be original. That would be that. Thank you. Yes, that photograph. You see the panel below the window, and the panel, excuse me, to the right of it. And that recess could have housed a shutter, could have been a bifold shutter that was drawn across the window. This also could be of the later 19th century installation that occurred when they went to a 2/2 window. So I think that it would be very illustrative if you could, if we were to look in a measured way, in the same way that you've measured the 6/6 or the 9/9 windows, if you were to measure this, taking out the sash weights and going back to a frame, a frame that might be a full inch or 1.25 inches thick, window frame in which is inset the sash, your total free glass area from side to side would increase significantly, could be increased even by 4 or 5 inches in each window. Again, looking at the proportion of the height and the width I think we'd see that the 4-window wide pattern, which we see in the existing window and the gable end, which we see in the etching, that 4 lights wide is the appropriate design for these windows. And you'd get you'd achieve the effect that that you and the owner want to achieve, which is more light into the building.
Thoughts, comments? Walter?
No.
A question for you.
Yeah.
You have kind of put a gauntlet on the table a little bit, or the owner has, which is that it's sort of my way or the highway. That, I mean, that's too harsh, but pretty close. My understanding is that if we do not, if we insist on 12 over 12, that you will use the language in the code that would allow you to do like for like, which would be basically 2 over 2.
Yeah, I think this is said without any rancor. This has been an attempt to find a really great solution to this building that worked for everybody. We have an expedient situation. We need to get windows in. I can see, I just need to close this discussion, and the way to do it is to take whichever option. So all I'm saying is you guys decide what you tell us we need to do from your standpoint, and then the owner will decide whether he wants to do that or do a like-kind replacement, which will obviously be much faster, incredibly inexpensive compared to this hugely massive undertaking, and will satisfy the need for 100% authenticity in the possibility that the engraving is actually a representation of what the building looked like when it was built. So yeah, that's it.
Folks?
So that was a yes.
If what we're
Approve the
saying,
approve the 9 over 9, or the landlord or the owner's likely to go with 2 over 2.
That's my understanding, John.
I'm not being threatening. I'm trying to point out this, that we've been trying to use logically persuasive arguments. People have said, oh, this doesn't suit Hudson. We found a federal contemporary building that has the same windows. People said, well, this isn't the right proportion. I went up myself, measured 16 windows, came up with the fact that the glass would be slightly more vertical according to my 3 times drawn dimensions. And so I have a feeling that no matter what I say, there's a conceptual desire to return to that engraving as a form of nostalgia that therefore I have no attempt or no strategy to overcome. And I think we just need to settle on the understanding that if you guys dig in and the owner doesn't want to do what you want him to do, he has another recourse. And that's all I'm saying.
All true.
In this drawing, which you have up right now, the window that you're showing in the upper right-hand corner of what's visible on the screen, it says it's 4 feet by 2¼ inches. And that dimension is taken to the underside of the head trim. That includes the thickness of what would be the corresponding thickness of the sash weight pocket. Whereas at your 5 feet 2½ inches below that, it's taken to the bottom of that beam pocket, or that sorry, that.
I apologize. That dimension was meant to correspond to this dimension, Chip. 5 feet 10½ inches versus 4 feet 2¼ inches. Why don't I send you my CAD drawings and you can play with them and see what you determine?
No, I thank you, Walter. That's generous of you, but I think it's really incumbent upon you to bring us accurate drawings that reveal the accuracy of the condition. And so I'm just seeing again that the exact measurement of the free glass area of each panel is very important. And I just don't see the consistency in the drawings that you're presenting here that allows the board to make a decision that's favorable to the 6/6 or the 9/9, where we have a 3 glass wide sash in this specific building, this specific place with the specific masonry openings that are there. It does not seem to be an appropriate solution. So, and I appreciate your historical analysis and your and the storyline of this, but I think in this specific building, we have really good evidence that these windows were 4 light wide. And I gotta say, I genuinely think this building will be much, much more handsome with a restoration to a 4 light wide window than it would to a 3 light wide window.
Okay.
Can we hear from Paul, our historian, on this?
Yeah, again, I'm just going to go back to, you know, the earliest images we have indicate 12/12. And it was not at the height of 12/12 windows, but it was certainly still within a period where 12/12 would have been included in the structure. You know, and I thought we were hearing that, you know, 12/12 replaced windows that had been there earlier, which I don't believe is the case. And again, as I said, the earliest images we have are 12/12. And when this became a private hospital that was funded by benefactors, I don't think they would have gone around and changed all of those windows, particularly when light was important in an institution like this. They wouldn't have gone from larger panes to smaller panes. And again, my interpretation of the reference to the metal bar is that was applied. It wasn't, they didn't switch out the window with metal. It was a metal bar that was applied to the window. That's
Okay. Again, I don't think anyone is successfully made any argument that 12/12 is not what was there.
No, I thought that was one of the.
I believe that Walter withdrew that earlier in the conversation if he had ever made it, because I asked him before we started this discussion, would you agree that what was there was 12/12? And he said that is not contested. So the issue now is we can go ahead and approve. Well, we actually can't. The application is not presented as anything at this point other than 9/9.
That's all we're asking for. So you can vote on it.
We also had the issue about the front window height and whether they were being reduced or not.
I made those consistent. I noted Chip's objection and I removed that. They're all the same size.
So just to reiterate, so I'm not confused, what it's really down to, whether historically it was this or that or the other thing, Walter is stating that if the 9/9 are not approved, then the owner has the right to put in 2/2, correct?
Yes.
So that our choice really is, do we want 2/2 or 9/9? You know, that's it. I mean, that's where we're at. I mean, regardless of what history says or design says or what the commission says, it seems to me. So if that's where we are, that's really our discussion, is it? Is it not?
That is where we are.
So if we take a vote, it's like, do we want 2/2 or do we want 9/9? I mean, all of the other expert criteria and information aside, that's where we're at.
Yeah.
Okay.
The owner can move forward with like for like replacement, which is 2/2.
Right.
Or choose, if you say he has to do 12/12, give him that option, see what he says. But, you know, do what you're going to do.
Walter, let me ask you something. We've worked together on a ton of stuff over the last 6 months. And well, Alger House, I don't remember all the projects, but really a ton of work. And never once in that process ran into such a hard line with one another. What's going on as far, I mean,
Well, I mean, I've been dropping hints for a while that I think that the proper role of the architect in this community is to try and really look at how to make these buildings sing and find uses for them that are appropriate. I just think the little 12/12 windows are medieval. I honestly, intellectually, 100% believe that there's a very strong chance that they were 9/9s that were changed, but since that's an unsuccessful strategy with this committee, I'm dropping that. But if you want to know where my head is, I think the General Worth House sums up in perfect terms what I think a stylish house of the late 19th, late 18th, early 19th century would have looked like. And, if you guys wanted to have the little tiny windows, that's okay. I don't see that happening a lot with federal buildings. When we talk about 12/12s, we're not always talking about 5-foot 4-inch tall windows. So to me, this is about space, proportion, light, and what undermines federal architecture. And I'm not, you guys know more about things than I do, but I believe what I'm saying very strongly. I think you're making a terrible mistake. And I think you need to look at this more in terms of putting in single light, single glass, gorgeous windows than, oh, they should have had 12 lights. I'm never going to be happy with it. But again, that's where I'm coming from. I'm not on your committee. But yes, we work together well, and we will continue to work together well.
So the applicant has put in an application for 9/9 windows. So the board can vote that up or down. If it's voted down, the applicant can return with a different design for you to review, or, they can look at their other options. But, what's before you is the proposal. And I don't think it's appropriate to just say 12/12 without having the size plans in front of you, because when we do a C of A, it's based on a particular set of plans with dimensions, et cetera.
I understand. Victoria, question. Am I obligated to I see somebody has their hand up. Am I obligated to bring public folks into this discussion while we're making decision on the vote, or can we continue on our own?
You're gonna put that on me. So you're not obligated to, but you're certainly welcome to.
How can we not?
I can demonstrate not doing it, John. Ronald?
Well, I would say we should listen to the public, even if it's not a public hearing, because of the nature of the building.
Oh. Well, interesting point, John. Ronald, you got your hand up for half an hour. What's up?
This is actually Matt McGee.
Would you use your name then?
Yeah, it's Matt McGee.
Good.
I was wanting to say that actually 10/10 windows are not medieval, or 12/12.
I'm sorry, say that again.
They're not medieval. Double sash windows.
I think it was a metaphor.
And also, I would like to point out that this building is really more Georgian than federal. It may be dated in the federal period, but the design of it is basically Georgian, which also is a factor in this. And I believe that the side window up on the upper gable is the best evidence we have
Okay.
of what the building was like.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you allowing me to speak.
No, of course. I'm sorry. I'm not feeling great.
Design has to be discussed.
I'm getting tired and grumpy. You did nothing wrong. You raised your hand. You always make a contribution.
Anyway, design is important, but it's also important that it be accurately represented. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I don't know who Galaxy 59 is. You have your hand up though.
That's me, Phil, that's Craig, city code.
Oh, did
Yeah,
you change your outfit?
No, it's always that ID, I guess, for the mobile cell phone.
Did you want to weigh in on 400?
Well, yeah, because, I've been listening to this back and forth and one of the option comes up and I hear this term very clearly and a lot is like for like. I just want to stress, based on 169.13 of the city code, like for like means identical in size, appearance, the whole 9 yards. So, I just want whoever, Walter, I guess in this case, to understand that if they are going to go with that option, not only do they have to provide proof of what's there now, and that includes measurements of every individual window, and then we would go in and make sure it stays that way when they're completed. So that's important for them to know, and it's not just this application, but I go through that with every applicant that always says like for like. Matter of fact, in this meeting today, I had 2 phone calls with presentations that we haven't seen yet that were asking that same exact question. So I just wanted to verify that, and I'm sure Victoria will agree with what I'm saying. That's
So
all.
let me clarify if I understand Craig. I think that's such a great point. So if these windows, if the owner is not able to reproduce them exactly as they are, if they're not commercially available, for example, then it wouldn't be like for like and require our approval. In which case, this conversation isn't just Pyrrhic, right? So
Yeah, that's right, John. That's why I bring it to the attention, because the like for like rule is change in design, material, color, and outward appearance. That means that you're going to take something out and you're going to put it identically back in as if it never even happened, so to speak. It's there for maintenance purposes. It's not there to use as a crutch, as an alternative.
Thank you for that. It's very helpful. I would just reject the 9/9 and go for 12/12.
Say that again, John. I didn't.
I mean, if the vote comes, I'm gonna vote against the 9/9.
As will I.
Yes, and I will too.
Guess what? Me too.
Wow.
I think it's because this is such a distinguished building.
Yes.
And it has this important history in our city. And I think if we're going to do our job, we have to try to preserve our history. It's a very different question than it would be with a residential house on a side street.
Sorry, Miranda, to cut you off, but given what we just heard, I guess the question is for Walter. Do you want to amend your proposal and come back, or do you want the board to vote? And then when you do come back, it's a new application with a new C of A.
Oh, I think it would be really important to get this vote recorded. Very important vote. Yes, please.
Okay.
Okay. If there are no objection, then we're going to go ahead. May I have a motion to find the application complete?
I make that motion.
Thank you very much, Paul. And a second?
Second.
Second.
Thanks very much, Miranda and John. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None? May I have a motion to approve this application as presented, which is 9/9 windows. There were other elements to it, but that's the heart and soul of it. Will anyone make that motion,
Yes.
Hugh?
Yes.
Will anyone second that motion? Seriously? We got to vote on it, people. I'll second it.
You can vote it.
We'll do a roll call then on the application as 9/9. Paul Barrett, yay or nay?
Nay. Oppose.
John Chobel,
Opposed.
Miranda,
Opposed.
Chip,
Opposed.
Hugh,
Yay.
who's left?
You.
Yay, we lose.
Mhm.
The application is declined.
Okay. Thank you anyway. I appreciate the open-minded debate. Phil, we have another one that we want, the State Street project, the Depot District. Are we on the agenda? Or are we?
I didn't put it on, Walter, because for two reasons. I wasn't sure what you were seeking. If you wanted feedback on that, it's such a big event. I reckoned it might be more helpful to get the public hearing piece out of the way if you wanted to present that and do it in one fell swoop, than rather come to us for an opinion and then again back with a public hearing, et cetera, et cetera.
It's
So
up-
I was purposive and I should have written to you, but I thought it wouldn't be a great use of time. And two, I didn't understand exactly what you were presenting, and neither did Craig. So I was feeling a
Okay,
little
so
skeevy.
we'll discuss that and hopefully get that straightened out and get it on the agenda. The Galvan group thinks that it would be appropriate to have this board review it just because it's a major proposal for the city. Obviously, people say exactly what they think, and they're going to make their opinions very clear. So we're not obviously looking for a rubber stamp. We're looking for feedback. And frankly, a lot of us, now just speaking beyond Galvan, think that this board should have some oversight over the entire city. And so to that extent, we would like to encourage other people to come forward with projects that are not necessarily under your purview, as long as that doesn't clog your process too much. I think I keep saying the city is an artifact. We can argue about this window or that, but I think we all agree that the fabric is critical, and we want you all to say we're getting it right or we're not getting it right, but if you do this, it would be better. So.
If you don't mind then, Walter, I'd like to pass on that. You and I will talk offline and we'll schedule something.
Okay, and thank you all for always a collegial discussion.
Thank you very much.
Walter. Thank you, Walter.
Thank you.
Terrific
Hey,
work.
So-
So I would ask that we adjourn. I just need 2 minutes of your time. I know everybody's tired. I am too, but I need your help on something that would require executive session. Can we whack all the non-members?
Well, you can't go into an executive session. First you have to make a motion to go into executive session, then you have to state the specific reason why you're going into executive session.
Okay. I would like to make a motion to go into executive session for the specific reason. I need some help on personnel matters related to new board members.
I second that.
Me too.
Yeah.
All in
that's
favor?
fine.
Any
Aye.
opposed?
So you're still in an open meeting, so you can ask Shaheem to put everyone else into the waiting room, because they are allowed to come back when you come out of executive session. You'll have to make the motion to end the meeting.
Can we
Why don't we
adjourn
just end the
first
meeting?
and then do executive session?
No.
So it has
No.
to be part of the meeting.
Okay. Shaheem, would you remove everyone?
Phil, before you do that real quick, this is Craig. Do you need me for anything? Because I have to go if you don't.
No, we're good, Craig, and thank you for jumping in on a lot of stuff today.
Yep. Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Thanks,
You
Craig.
I'm
too.
leaving too. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Is it just us chickens?
Not quite. Oh, those are texts. Yeah.
Well, that was a spicy meeting. Oh wait, that's not what executive session is for. I thought it was a postmortem on that spicy meeting of ours.
I know we're such a spicy dynamic group.
I just want to make sure I'm still in here. So
Hi.
let's get me out of here. Hello, everyone.
Is that
The
Rebecca?
great window wars of 2021.
But I think I'm co-host, so I can't get myself out of here. Shaheem, if you can help me. I just want to be in the waiting room.
Shaheem is like a deity that we just sort of
There you
pray
go.
to and hope that something happens.
Yes, always. Thank you, Shaheem.
Thank you, Shaheem.
That's for sure. What's happening, Rebecca?
Well, I was just saying I shouldn't be in here because it's your executive session. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave the meeting and
Just
then
leave.
I'll just come back.
All right. So as you may have noticed, I'm doing an incredibly shitty job trying to get new members, and I'll explain where we're at and then ask someone else to figure it out. There were two candidates, both good. One was introduced by Hugh. We did have him talk really briefly in front of a couple board members. Not exactly an extensive interview. He doesn't have a big historic background. He was on the board of what's that huge complex on 23rd Street between 9th, whatever it is, on the west side.
London
The
Terrace.
London
Yeah.
Terrace.
So he was a big deal at London Terrace and helped manage that, was on the board and so on, but not you know, historic society or design stuff. And then another great guy introduced by John, who has actually an extensive background in design, knows some architecture, has served in preservation and a lot of knowledge. But I can never get the guy to stay long enough in a meeting to get to the executive session bit. I've given it a go 3 times and he had to bail each time because I couldn't tell him when we were going to be done with our regular meeting, and it
Why
was
don't you
always
do a 10-minute executive session at the beginning of the meeting and make everyone. Why don't you just do a 10-minute session at the beginning of the meeting, executive session, and make everyone wait?
I don't know, it seems a little bit weird. I mean, can't
Not
he
weird at all,
actually
you're
sit
filling
through
his
a
role.
meeting? My concern was if the guy wants to do it, are our meetings not interesting to him, and yet he wants to be on our
Oh, well, we can ask him that. I mean,
Yeah.
if he can't, the truth is you need to be able to commit from 9 to 12, right? And like,
At least.
if you can't do 9 to 12, I consider like that, you know, I had a meeting at 11, then I moved a standing meeting at 11, I moved it to 12, and now it's at 1. But that's
No,
my
trust me, I
think
get
it's a
it.
better question for him.
John, I passed away about half an hour ago. This is not Phil. It's I've actually been dead through the entire discussion of Windows.
Anyway. But what about this? Why don't I ask him if he wants to do it and if he can commit that time? And if he can, then would you consider my suggestion of taking 10 minutes and let everyone meet them so that you can have 2 candidates?
You know, and to John's point, we could, and I don't know the legal ramifications, we could start one morning at 9:30.
Yeah.
And do it, and then have a more intelligent conversation of the candidates.
That's a great idea.
I think
If
that's
you
an
create less
excellent
work.
idea.
Maybe we
9:40,
talk to both of them
9:45,
again.
whatever you want to do.
You, because we spent no time with either guy. They're both good. What the hell?
Is the
And it
first
matters.
guy, does he live in the historic district? The first
Yes.
candidate, the London Terrace person? Okay, great.
Yes, he has
Yeah.
2 properties, actually.
Great. Yeah, I think that's a wonderful suggestion. Let's start at 9:30, have executive session first, and then we'll start the open meeting at 10.
All
quite
right,
frankly,
I'll
we
set
could-
it up with Shaheem. We won't let anybody in is the way we'll do it. It's just us chicken.
And they
And if
don't
we wanted
expect to show up before 10 anyway.
And if we wanted to, we could, meet John's candidate for 15, 20 minutes, and then we could re-meet the other candidate just because it was so long ago for 4 seconds. So
Yeah, no.
It's up to you, Phil.
No, it's if it was up to me, it still wouldn't be getting done.
Well, how about in 2 weeks, whenever the next meeting is?
It's in 2 weeks.
We have John, from 9:30 to 9:45. I don't think we need longer than that. And then
No.
David Giroux from 9:45 to 10, and then we can make, maybe at the end of that meeting, we could have another executive session and make a vote and just get it done.
Or let me do this. Let me make sure. I think Phil's point is valid. Let me call Chair. I don't know him that well. I know him personally, but I don't know him. But he seemed like a great balance, frankly. So let me just tell him, does your career allow you the flexibility to give potentially between 3 and 4 hours every other Friday, because that's what this is, right? Like
Right.
if you can have that
That
kind
is
of
what it
time,
is, John.
that doesn't mean you have to do it every time, because if there's a quorum, you can bag it whenever, but it isn't. That is the expectation. It's not an hour and a half.
No,
No, it's not an hour and a half.
it never is.
It's become this, and that's not gonna crop back. I'm only technically good until noon, but what are you gonna do?
We all
Not
start to
vote
lose
on
our,
a
we all start to lose our minds at about 11:45. So, but anyway, that's what I propose. But I
All right,
guess
let me find
John
out
will.
if that's not the case, then we should just take the other candidate because he's here. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
So-
David is like semi-retired and manages his properties, and he's in, loves Hudson, so he has the time and he's willing to spend it on this. So
This guy's really sharp. He's been in the arts his whole life. Like, he will have informed, authoritative, well-researched. He runs a big company, I don't know, it's like board consulting company. So he's got very practical experience coupled with genuine, he was an art historian and blah, blah, blah. So I think he also represents a really good thing. But if you don't have the time, you don't have the time.
yeah,
Right.
I mean, he sounds like a great candidate if he's interested.
So let's try.
All right.
So that's our takeaway. Okay, I move to adjourn executive session and go back.
And did we agree, thanks to you, John, to have another damn public meeting next week? 2
Sorry.
weeks. Do you realize what a pain in the
On the
ass
garage.
that is to me?
That garage, listen, and that garage is too much. Too much.
I disagree.
Listen,
I love it. It's beautiful. No, you know what? I'm sorry. I go back to what I say. I would vote for the garage, but I want to hear what the town has to say.
It's adorable. It's a little
You're taking
chunky.
their light, you're taking their ambiance, and I don't even live in that alley.
Well, my dog Bob is a little chunky too. So what are you going to do? Anyway.
Well, we should remember though that horrible garage on Partition Street that we approved. That is
thanks a
so
lot.
out of
What
out
if
of
everyone
scale.
builds this? Then
Yes.
what if everyone builds the same thing? That is the best. Whatever. We're not supposed
Then
to
there'll be no light in the
That's the
damn
best
alley.
house. That house
None.
is fantastic, and that guest house would be stunning, right?
And also let me add that the side yard setbacks, almost the required side yard setbacks for an accessory structure almost eclipse the possibility of even building a building there. So I think that there's not a really good marriage between the zoning ordinance and what is really good for the alleys. Everything needs to be a variance to build in the alley.
Yeah.
Even if you're on a 50-foot wide lot, almost.
Well, and there's an argument being made that the alleys are a place where it is possible to expand the number of housing units in the city, that you can have little
Correct.
Airbnb type places over the top of a garage. And I think that's fair to the property owners, that they can have that kind of space, but it does need to be in proportion with the
But
surrounding buildings.
It's a zoning matter. It's not an HPC matter. And that issue of the width and whether there's a second dwelling there, the use is not our concern.
True.
We're
But the
talking about whether it's
proportion
appropriate
is.
or not. But let me just say one other thing that's very important about the side yards. And I know that Craig is not here to chime in on this, but the previous question was, well, what if everybody built to the side yards? And you get this alleyway that is a street that has no vehicular access for the fire department to get through the alley in order to fight a fire on the back of the house. Now, that's a zoning issue. It's a fire prevention and a zoning issue, not our issue so much. But I think that we have to worry about a slippery slope. And I was very glad today that we didn't act on this application, because we shouldn't be in a position whereby we are suggesting modifications to the zoning ordinance. It's much more complex than that.
Yeah,
So
you're right. Good point.
Okay.
So Phil, good luck with the resurrection project.
I know. Is there like something I could drink that would bring life?
It's called bourbon, Phil.
Yeah. Right.
There is some in the living room. I bought that for you.
I know, but you could have some, you could have some if you'd like.
All right. it's a
Well,
deal.
listen, at least we didn't have 45 signs and nothing else to talk about today. So that's
Oh my God, signs are supposed to be easy.
Well, that
wanna
one
have it-
sign was a little wackadoodle, so.
I want to have an executive session every meeting.
why can't we? This is like the
know.
best part. Or actually, we're allowed to. We should have like come summer. Let's have a standing Friday, late afternoon cocktail.
Can we
Did we ever have lunch together or anything
Well, we're
like
not
that?
supposed to talk about any of this. All
Yeah,
right.
but we will, so, you know.
All right.
All right.
I'm
Take
gonna
care,
let-
everybody.
How do we
Feel
call
better, Phil.
Shaheem? We call on you to restore the session.
So that we can leave.
Shaheem,
So that we can
He's there.
adjourn.
so we can adjourn.
Bring us
Phil,
back.
Phil, I think you have to call Shaheem.
He's
No,
here.
he's not there. I see his
He's
logo.
here. He's muted and his
There we go.
video's off.
Okay, there we go.
We're back.
They were listening the whole time.
So again, after that
I
critical
move to
executive session,
adjourn.
I second.
we're adjourned.
Okay, aye. Bye.
All in
Thank you.
favor, aye.
Bye, all
Have a good
y'all.
weekend.
All right, bye.
Thank
Feel
you,
better,
Phil.
Phil. Feel better.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
All right,
Wonderful to
bye-bye.
be with you.
Phil, get into bed.
Hi, everyone. Have a good day. Have a good
Bye.
weekend.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Bye.